Good morning, Hampton, fourth grade. Today, our lesson will be focused on the relationship of ideas. As we look into this, we're going to be answering two questions. The first I'll answer with you guys. Second will be a pop question, as well as an assignment that will be uploaded to Study Island. So, as we get ready to jump into our text, our first job is always to preview the text that we're going to read. And we look over our text, looking for details that will let us know what the genre is for our text that we're reading. So we know how to categorize our text and know what thinking jobs we're working with. As I'm looking through this text, I don't see any dates. I don't see any first and last names of anybody important. I just see characters. Because I'm just seeing characters and because it's written in paragraphs and sentences, it is safe to say that this text, is a fiction text. Because our text is fiction, our thinking jobs are characters, problem, solution, and lesson learned. So as we're reading, we're constantly thinking about how these things affect the text that we're reading. These four thinking jobs affect the text that we're reading. So let's jump into it. A simple experiment. Those games will rot your brain, little bro, Keisha called from Marcus's doorway. Marcus was sitting on his bed with a tablet computer. He was rocking the tablet to and fro, trying to guide his virtual race car through the obstacles of a new video game challenge. So we have two characters that we meet. The first is Keisha. The second is Marcus. And here we can write that Keisha is worried about Marcus rotting his brain from games. That's just a myth, Marcus said without looking up. He needed all his concentration to avoid some exploding grasshoppers that were crossing in front of his race car. So we can write that Marcus is heavily focused on his game. Aren't you supposed to study for a spelling test? Keisha was 3 years older than Marcus. Marcus was a smart kid, but he wasn't really the best manager of his own time because their mom and dad both worked until long after school. Keisha often made sure Marcus took care of his homework and chores. Keisha was responsible for Marcus. Yep, but playing this game for a few minutes helps me relax. And when I'm relaxed, I learn my spelling words even faster. Marcus could be a smooth talker. Want to bet? What do you mean? Marcus looked up. His race car had crashed into a street sweeper with a sound of broken glass and twisted metal. Let's conduct an experiment, Keisha replied. This week will be like always. You play your video game for 10 minutes every day before studying. Then study your spelling words as usual for 10 minutes. Let's see what your score on your spelling test is. How will you know if my score is better or worse? Marcus was intrigued. He enjoyed a challenge, especially if it involved a video game. Next week, you study the same 10 minutes, only without the gaming. We'll compare the spelling test from week 1 to week 2. If I'm right and your score is higher, you owe me $5. So here we have our problem. Keisha and Marcus have an experiment, and the loser owes the other person $5. You've got yourself a bet. If my grade this week is higher, you owe me $5, and I'll play video games before homework every night. Marcus was off his bed now, trying to shake Keisha's hand to seal the deal. Here we can write, Marcus is excited to prove Keisha wrong. Keisha smiled. You'll have to talk to mom and dad about that. They shook hands, and Marcus went to his desk to begin studying. Keisha left the room, confident that Marcus was going to do well on his spelling test this week. Next Friday after school, Keisha learned that she had been right. Marcus came home with a smile on his face. 95%, Marcus crowed as he dropped his backpack at the kitchen table. Marcus Marcus got a 95% with his gaming. We'll see, Keisha responded. A deal's a deal. This next week, you study without gaming. I know the deal. Marcus was getting a snack out of the refrigerator, but I think I'm going to be $5 richer next Friday, sorry. All that week, Marcus came home from school and spent 10 minutes practicing his spelling words without the video games. Marcus found that he was able to finish his spelling homework earlier. So we can write here that Marcus started his homework earlier without gaming. At the end of the second week, Marcus came home with a puzzled look on his face. He showed Keisha his spelling test. The grade at the top of the test was written in red pen, 95%. Well, I guess nobody wins our bet, Marcus mumbled on his way to the refrigerator. You're wrong, Marcus. You win. I keep my money, but you earned 2 good test grades. Also, you proved that video games don't rot your brain. You should tell Mr. Barnaby, your teacher, about this experiment. He might even give you extra science credit. Marcus smiled as he took his snack and his tablet to his computer room. So in our solution, Marcus wins because he gets 2 good grades on his test. And our lesson learned, is that there are more important things in life than winning all the time. And I say that because We see that even though Marcus doesn't really win, he learns something through science, through his experiment, that games don't rot your brain. Now we're going to flip over to our questions. Our first question is going to be question number 4. Remember, we're working with the relationship of ideas. What identifies this story as realistic fiction? F. The author includes video games in a tablet computer. G. Marcus and Keisha are magical characters in a real life setting. H. The author provides a happy ending for Marcus. J. The events could happen and the characters are believable. So remember, when we're working with discussing our genre, these are things that we can notice while we preview the text. Okay? So the author includes video gaming in the tablet computer. Just because they include things that do actually exist. Remember, if we're telling a story about a rabbit doing this, can a rabbit actually play on video games on the tablet? No. So including video games on the tablet computer isn't enough for us to learn, to discuss this, to write about this as a realistic fiction. It may help us, but it doesn't give us a definitive answer. Marcus and Keisha are magical characters in a real life setting. As we look through this text, there's nothing magical happening throughout the story. In fact, everything seems very realistic, so we can put an X through that as well. H. The author provides a happy ending for Marcus. While there is a happy ending in our story, the inclusion of a happy ending does not give us a realistic fiction. Does not give us enough to say that it's a realistic fiction. So we can cross that answer out as well. J. The events could happen and the characters are believable. This is the best answer because as the answer states, all of the things that occur in the text could actually happen in real life. You could actually run this experiment with your family and learn whether or not video games rot your brain or not. So the events could happen and the characters are believable. Put a check next to that. The question that you guys will respond to for the pop question is question number 7. The author writes, the narrator in this selection is A, third person telling the story by showing the reader what the characters do and say. B, first person because both Marcus and Keisha speak in the story. C, unreliable because the reader cannot tell who is speaking. And D, a character in the story. All right? And that is our pop question for today. Next, I have our attendance question for today. And our attendance question says, what is your favorite cereal? Sorry, wrong question. What is your favorite kind of vegetable? What is your favorite kind of vegetable? So the attendance question for today is, what is your favorite kind of vegetable? Thank you all and have a great day.